after what was a ceasefire for so many years. It still says Israel needs to demand and put forward a ceasefire. But why? Does this make any sense? I'm David Solomon. He's Stuart Brisgell. We welcome you back to the Rant Network. That for the last 5 weeks we have been ranting about the absurdity and what's going on in the world today, where a war was inflicted by a terrorist organization and a democratic state is under greater fire than anybody else. It is unbelievable, this level of stupidity. And this is one of the topics we've been diving into for the last 5 weeks, where we normally talk about news, pop culture, and politics and beyond. But this absurdity has been our cause for the last number of weeks. Stuart, I'm going to tell you, this has been a very, very, very hard week for me and my fellow Montreal Jewish community members. My synagogue, there was an attempted firebomb with a Molotov cocktail. Thankfully, very little to no damage. And across the street, they tried the same thing at the community building which belonged to Federation. From Wednesday night to Thursday night, my alma mater, they found bullet holes. One, maybe two bullet holes, and then again on the yeshiva. There was a ridiculous conflict between pro-Israel and let's call them pro-Palestinian, but put that in quotation marks, at Concordia University. A physical altercation ensued, okay? And people not from Concordia, this was in Concordia itself, but people from outside Concordia went in on purpose to assault Jewish students. Death chants were hurled. And then yesterday, in the street across from McGill, another one of those protests on Kristallnacht, as we talked about, the night of broken glass from Germany. There was a broken glass posters everywhere talking about how, again, it's all this pro-Palestinian malarkey, but it's really about chanting death to Jews. It's been a week of hate here in Montreal, and we're a microcosm. And Stuart, I apologize for this lengthy start because this will lead into what you want to talk about. Our politicians are either absent, my member of parliament, who is a known anti-Semite. He helped organize back in the day the Concordia riots when Benjamin Netanyahu came, and he's my member of parliament. Applauded that the Canadian government is interested in a two-state solution, but when a religious institution in his community is firebombed, he's nowhere to be found. The mayor of Montreal, the premier of Quebec, both said, calm. We need calm. But a ceasefire will be the solution for everything, Stuart. This is what we're hearing. And I think this is the level of absurdity from our politicians, the idiot morons that haven't changed their dialogue or their messaging in easily over 100 years. Stuart?
All right, David, thank you for teeing it up. It's nice to see there are bullet holes in Canada. I guess guns do range free in Canada as well.
No, don't exaggerate like you usually do.
Oh,
range free. Don't go there.
Don't. David, stop. All right. I'm going to mention a bunch of really racist terms. Nigger, kike, spick, wop. These are vile words stricken from most educated vernaculars. Nigger, kike, wop, spick, wetback. I want to say that again to try and emphasize something. NFL football teams, hockey teams are dropping their heritage names because they're insulting to the native Indian. These are moments in history which cause these events. Jews burning in a gas chamber, villainizing probably one of the smallest minorities on the planet, which are Jews, counting today about 16 million. Nigger, kike, spick, wop. We're going to rid these. This is what academia and morally driven people want to do. From the river to the sea stands for the annihilation of the Jewish people. Not figuratively, literally. The sliver of land that is Israel, a country that pre-existed Christianity, Muslim, every other modern religion. But wait a minute. Palestina, a Roman word, needs to be saved. October 7th wasn't the end of a ceasefire. Because let me explain something. They have been launching missiles, maiming and killing people nonstop since 1948 from all parts of the Middle East. Not just Gaza, David. I'm talking about in general. Every day, there are missiles, bombs, terrorists murdering, attempting to murder people in this sliver of land. They've tried to murder wrestlers in the Munich games.
They succeeded.
They tried to murder more. They only got to kill the wrestling team. They wanted to murder all of them.
And the coaches and yeah.
But history is silent on these issues. Your prime minister, your provincial leader, calm. Nigger, wop, kike, spick. There is no calm when there's racism amongst African Americans. There is no calm. There is rioting in the streets, destruction of personal and private property, commandeering of properties known as police stations, Occupy Wall Street. All of these issues take the headlines and get unanimous support. Unless it's about a Jew. David and I, when we cut our wrists, we bleed blood. However, we seem to be singled out century after century. I thought maybe that time a resolve came decades ago. Clearly it hasn't. Academia is the center point of all of this hatred. Academia is the fuel throwing into the fire. Academia is the root cause of the violence in North America and around Europe. Do you want to know why that's the reason why? It's the failure to educate moral right and wrong. The presidents of your universities, colleges, school boards need to be looked at. Because if you think it's just Jews, let me say again, nigger, kite, spick, wop. I can go on. Those are just a modern bunch of vitriol names that we can use. that are linked to massive amounts of racism. Why do we use anti-Semitism, which holds completely different to racism? Racism's here, anti-Semitism is here. Racism is a denial of rights. Anti-Semitism is calling for the death, destruction, murder, abuse of a people. My opinion. I'm sure David has his. I am fed up listening to the Talibs of the world. No matter who retains the White House, these vitriol, anti-American, anti-moral people need to be removed, need to be sent from where they came and live amongst the people they feel are living the clean life. David, thank you.
You know, Stuart, you're. Let's just hope that right now the people who are listening are uncomfortable.
Yep.
Why? Those words you used, they should make you uncomfortable. And when the first time you said it, it was like, okay. Second time, but the third time, I was going, why is he doing this again? But you know what? If you were uncomfortable each time Stuart ran with those words, and why aren't you uncomfortable with what's going on right now out there? Jew or non-Jew? To tell the Jews to calm down, God help me. I'm not calm right now. I'm furious. I've never been so angry in my life and trying to keep it together for my family who are nervous. You do not hear Jews in general chant, from the river to the sea, Israel will be Arab free. You never heard that. Okay? You've never heard Israelis chanting in celebration for the death of an Arab.
Nope.
Gal Gadot showed in LA and in New York the depths of the 47 minutes of footage. And what was the response? Violence. Violence from the haters. Sorry?
Susan Sarandon, standing front row center.
I don't really care about, you know what? These Hollywood, there was a great article about should people listen to Hollywood actors and actresses, but when they put up Jewish Hollywood actors and actresses, no, Hollywood has an opinion. But when it's against the Jew, we need to listen to Hollywood. When it comes to listen to the difference in terms. Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia. Racism versus fear. A phobia is a fear. Like, what fear? We've indoctrinated, you were right about the universities being one of the cancers, one of the major causes for this. Absolutely. But I'll tell you one thing. When I'm hearing calm down, I'm not calm anymore. I'm going to take a page out of Germany, where they've thrown out pro-Hamas supporters out. They threw them out of the country. Where is the leadership to revoke? Stuart, January 6th, 2021, insurrection. Let's go incarcerate a former president for his words that created this insurrection. Imagine. We're going to go after the former president of the United States because he caused an insurrection. Rashida Tlaib goes off, no problem. Others can say whatever they want. We had an imam here. In Dollard, I got to tell you, in my hometown, when there was an attack on a mosque in Quebec City, Stuart, and we're going to go overtime on this. I don't care. We had an attack on a mosque in Quebec City a number of years ago. My community stood shoulder to shoulder with the Muslim community in support. But when this incident happened this week, I couldn't find an imam anywhere. There were Muslims who reached out, including to myself, supporting us, standing shoulder to shoulder, but the community leaders were absent. But not on the Christian side, but we're the Muslim. An imam stood at a rally in Montreal last week, leading people in prayer, chanting death to Jews. He's still here. This is Canada. This is the United States. We've learned nothing from history, and we're not learning from what the Europeans are doing. Because the Europeans who opened their doors to an extraordinary amount of immigration are now, immigration from Arab and Muslim countries, are scratching their heads. There was a great article by a Spanish writer, not Jewish, not Arab, Christian, who essentially said, what did we do? We killed 6 million people who contributed to society and let in 20 million who are destroying our society. That wasn't my article. That's a writer from Barcelona. I'm not saying all, I'm not saying, generalization, but there's a problem. We Jews have gone everywhere and assimilated. Much to our chagrin, we have lost in our religion many Jews to assimilation because they wanted to be comfortable where they are and being more Canadian or American than Jewish. I mean, Stuart, one of the greatest anti-Semitic remarks you can throw at someone today is, are you an American Jew or a Jewish American? Because if you're a Jewish American, then you're not loyal to the United States. That's been going on for over 200 years.
David, Jewish Americans that immigrated here had to check a box off that they're not white. That was the immigration conundrum that was part of U.S. immigration. We're considered cream, not white.
We are, what's crazy, Stuart? And I'll bring it back to what you said at the beginning. There is a cancer, there is a disease, and it seems like the way to get rid of it is get rid of the Jew. Well, how is that working in other countries? Because you see, if you want to talk about getting rid of people, there was a Jewish genocide in almost every Arab country, because hardly you're going to find a Jew in any of those Arab or Muslim countries. Oh, and by the way, how many Christians are you finding?
David, it's called utter stupidity. It's called these people just stupid.
It's bias and racism.
The definition of racism, definition of anti-Semitism are not the same. They are two separate, horrible things. One calls for the death of a people. The other calls for the exclusion of people. Anti-Semitism, racism. When in the 60s, 50s, 40s, hang that nigger from the tree. Wait, let me say that again. Hang that nigger from the tree. By the way, they hung the Jew right next to the nigger. Those are vile words. The concepts are just repugnant. But every Black American that fought for civil liberties should remember there was a Jew standing next to you, hand in hand in that march. Not a Muslim terrorist. Terrorist is not a freedom fighter. Women and children get murdered by terrorists. Rebellions go after governments. David, wrap it up.
Stuart, I'm going to tell you with one thing. Next Tuesday, there will be a rally in Washington, D.C. to counter what occurred last Saturday. The destruction, the mutilation, the violence, the graffiti, the desecration of the United States statues and the White House, or outside the White House, I should say. Watch the difference. Listen for the difference. The chant in D.C. on Tuesday, Stuart, will be bring them home. Release our hostages. We want peace. You will not hear death to anybody. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, if you can attend next Tuesday, please do so. Thank you for tuning in today. We will be back on Monday. We hope you gain something out of this and help you with your day. Racism, anti-Semitism is repugnant. And we're hoping that this lesson will finally sink in with people. But we don't have much hope. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you have a good weekend. And until Monday, please